I never thought I'd end up here, ankle deep in the Pacific's foam, screaming truths that had festered for decades like untreated wounds. But when Sarah spat old Leech at me in front of God and half of Malibu, something inside cracked wide open, a fault line running straight through the family I'd bled for. And in that moment, as the seagulls wheeled overhead like indifferent judges, I decided her pretty little empire of lies would drown right there on the shore. It started with a phone call at 2 a.m., the kind that yanks you from sleep like a hook through the gut. My son, Ethan, was sobbing on the line from some dive bar in Santa Monica, slurring words about ruining everything and can't go back. I'd scraped by on my widow's pension and odd nursing gigs since his father keeled over from a heart attack 10 years back. But family? That's what you do. I drove through the rain-slicked streets, tires hydroplaning on the 405, to bail him out again. He was 28, fresh out of law school, and already drowning in debt from that fancy fiancée of his.
Sarah.
The golden girl with the Instagram-perfect smile and a daddy who owned half the real estate in Beverly Hills. I found Ethan slumped over a sticky bar table, reeking of tequila and regret. Mom.
I
hit her car. Sarah's. Backed into it in the garage. It's totaled. His eyes were red-rimmed, pleading. The car was her pride, a cherry-red Tesla she'd leased on his credit. Because partnership means sharing.
Right?
Babe.
Wrong.
It was her way of chaining him to her whims. But I didn't lecture. I just peeled off a couple hundred from my emergency stash, the one I'd been hoarding for his bar exam fees, and paid the bouncer to forget the tab. Then I drove him home to their sleek condo overlooking the Pacific, the kind of place where the waves whisper you're not good enough to folks like me from the valley. Sarah was waiting, arms crossed, her yoga-toned body wrapped in silk pajamas that probably cost more than my rent. Julia, she said, voice like iced honey. This is the 3rd time this month. When are you going to stop enabling him? I bit my tongue. Enabling? I'd raised Ethan alone after his dad dropped dead mid-shift at the auto shop, working doubles at the hospital to put him through UCLA. She didn't know about the nights I skipped meals so he could have braces, or the time I forged my signature on a loan to cover his tuition when scholarships fell through.
No.
Sarah saw me as the relic, the old leech sucking at their modern bliss. That night, as Ethan crashed on the couch, Sarah cornered me in the kitchen. The marble counters gleamed under recessed lights, a far cry from my linoleum-floored bungalow. Look, Julia, Ethan's got potential.
But you're
like this anchor, always showing up with your casseroles and your advice. It's suffocating him. Her eyes flicked to my faded jeans and the silver locket I wore, his dad's, with our wedding photo inside. I want to tell her about the real anchor, the one I'd carried since Ethan was 16, when he got mixed up with that crowd in Van Nuys, joyriding in a stolen Beamer, high on whatever kids were snorting back then. The cops came, lights flashing like Judgment Day, and it was me who took the fall. I pled guilty to accessory, said it was my car. My idea, spent 6 months in county lockup while he finished high school with straight A's and a football scholarship. For his future, I told the judge, voice steady as rebar. Sarah didn't know. No one did. I'd buried that secret deeper than my husband's ashes in the Pacific. But I swallowed it all. He's my son, I said softly, pouring her a glass of that organic Merlot she favored. I'll always be there. She took the glass, her manicured nails tapping the stem like she was already calculating the cost.
Yeah. Well.
Maybe it's time you backed off. For his sake. That was the first crack. But I patched it with a smile. Little did I know, she was already chiseling away at the foundation. The wedding was 6 months later. A spectacle at the Santa Barbara resort, white tents billowing like sails. String quartet playing Vivaldi under a sky so blue it hurt. I wore the navy dress I'd bought on sale at Macy's. The one with the empire waist to hide the extra pounds from stress eating. Ethan looked sharp in his tux, eyes shining as he vowed forever to Sarah. Her gown a cascade of lace that screamed old money. I sat in the third row, next to Aunt Marlene, who whispered, "She's a keeper. That one. Got that fire." Fire? More like napalm. But I clapped with the rest, tears blurring the champagne toasts. Afterward, at the reception, Sarah pulled me aside near the oyster bar. The ocean breeze carried salt and privilege, and she handed me a check, $5,000, crisp as new snow. "For the honeymoon fund," she said, all smiles for the photographers snapping candids. "We appreciate everything you've done, Julia." Really, it felt like a severance package, a polite eviction from their fairy tale. I cashed it quietly, used it to pay down Ethan's student loans. That's what mothers do. But the calls started coming less, first weekly, then monthly. "Busy with the bar?"
Mom.
"Love you."
Click.
A year in, things soured. Ethan started missing my birthday dinners, blaming client meetings. I chalked it up to newlywed haze. But Marlene, bless her chain-smoking soul, dropped by unannounced one afternoon. She found me weeding the rose bushes in my backyard, the sun baking the drought-cracked earth. "Julia, honey, you hear about the merger? Sarah's daddy bought out Ethan's firm. Locked him into some non-compete that's got him chained to his desk till he's 40. My trowel slipped, nicking my thumb. Blood welled up, bright as betrayal.
What?
He never said. Marlene lit a Virginia Slim, exhaling truth. Because she didn't want him to. It's all her play.
Girl.
She's got him signing away his soul for that lifestyle. I confronted him that weekend, over takeout lo mein in their condo, the beach view mocking my unease. "Ethan, is it true? About the merger?" He shifted on the leather sectional, avoiding my eyes. Sarah breezed in from Pilates, glowing like she'd just conquered Everest.
Oh.
"Julia, it's business. Ethan's thriving. Why worry an old bird like you?" Old bird. It landed softer than Leech, but the barb stuck. Ethan mumbled, "It's fine."
Mom.
Really? But his jaw was tight, the way it got before he'd sneak out as a teen. That's when the real digging started. Not with a shovel, but with my old nursing contacts, women who'd traded scrubs for real estate deals and divorce filings. A week later, over coffee at the Bean in Studio City, Rita spilled it. Sarah's not who she says. That daddy of hers? Facing SEC heat for insider trading. She knew. Julia used Ethan's firm to launder the paperwork. He's on the hook now, signatures everywhere. My coffee turned to ash in my mouth. Betrayal. Deep as marrow. She'd married my boy not for love, but leverage. And the secret I'd buried? It was resurfacing. Because if the feds dug, Ethan's juvenile record might link back to me. That joyride cover-up could unravel everything. I didn't rage. Not yet. Instead, I started small. Anonymous tips to the Bar Association. Whispers about ethical lapses. Sarah's perfect world began to fray, clients pulling out, Ethan working late. Coming home hollow-eyed. She'd call me then. Saccharine voice on the line. Julia. Ethan stressed. Maybe bake him those cookies? I'd send them. Laced with notes. Proud of you.
Son.
Remember who you are. Subtle reminders that I was still the anchor. Not her. But she flipped first. One night, Ethan showed up at my door. Black eye blooming like a bruise on a peach. She thinks I'm cheating. With a paralegal. He collapsed into my armchair, the one his dad used to nap in. I fetched ice, wrapped it in a dish towel. Ethan. What happened? He spilled it in fragments, Sarah's rages. Her accusations. The way she'd smash plates imported from Italy. Shards glittering like her tears. She said you put me up to it. That you're poisoning me against her. Poison. The word hung heavy. I'd covered his ass once. Taken a rap, so he could chase dreams. Now she was painting me as the villain. The beach trip was her idea, a family reset at Malibu Colony. That gated stretch where celebrities hide from the paparazzi. 4th of July weekend. Fireworks already popping in the distance, like distant gunfire. I almost said no, but Ethan begged, please,
Mom.
for us. So I packed my one good swimsuit, the black one-piece from Target, and drove the hour up PC. Windows down. Radio blasting Springsteen to steal my nerves. The house was a rental dream, glass walls framing the surf. Infinity pools spilling toward the horizon. Sarah greeted me with hugs for the Instagram reel. Her bikini a sliver of emerald that matched her eyes. Julia. So glad you made it. Margaritas? The first day was civil. Volleyball on the sand. Ethan grilling burgers with that boyish grin I hadn't seen in months. But by evening, as the sun dipped low and the bonfire crackled, the mask slipped. We were all there, me, Ethan, Sarah, her brother Tyler, the trust fund slacker with a vape habit, Aunt Marlene, dragged along for comic relief, and a handful of Sarah's influencer friends, all teeth and tans. The firelight danced on their faces as stories flowed with the rose. Then Tyler, half-buzzed, cracked a joke about in-laws from hell. Sarah laughed too loud, turning to me with that viper smile.
Oh.
Tyler, you have no idea. Julia here's the queen of it. Always leeching off Ethan, those loans that never get paid back. The guilt trips to crash our vibe. The group tittered, polite but pointed. Ethan froze, spatula midair. Marlene's cigarette dangled forgotten.
Leech.
The word slithered out, casual as seaweed, but it hooked deep. I felt the blood drain, the ocean roar in my ears. Sarah, Ethan started, voice low. That's not. But she steamrolled, emboldened by the wine. Come on,
Babe.
everyone knows. She's got nothing, no husband, no career since nursing dried up. Clings to you like a barnacle. The circle went quiet, eyes darting like minnows. Tyler snorted. One of her friends whispered,
Harsh.
but I stood slowly, sand gritty under my flip-flops, the fire's heat licking my skin. This was it, the fracture line. But I didn't shatter. I smiled, slow and sharp as a scalpel. Leech.
Huh.
That's rich. Coming from the girl who married my son for his signature on her daddy's dirty deals. Gasps rippled. But I wasn't done. You think I don't know about the SEC probe? The shell companies funneled through Ethan's desk? I covered for him once, took a felony so he could have a future. And now you're the one bleeding him dry. Sarah's face twisted. Wineglass trembling. You're lying. You're just a bitter old. Bitter? I stepped closer. Voice carrying over the waves. I have proof. Emails. Timestamps. Sent to the feds this morning. Happy Independence Day. Sweetheart. The beach went still. Fireworks blooming overhead like accusations. Ethan stared.
Torn.
Marlene hooped. Get her. Julia. But Sarah's friends shifted. Whispers turning to stares. Tyler pulled out his phone. Murmuring. This going viral? That was the hook. But the line was just tightening. The fallout hit like a rogue wave, sucking the air from the bonfire circle. Sarah's mouth opened and closed. A fish on the hook I'd just set.
You.
You wouldn't. Ethan's career. Your career, I corrected, my voice steady as the tide pulling out. The one you built on his back. Or did you forget the prenup you bullied him into waiving? For trust, you said. Lies? Half of them. The prenup was real. She'd sweet-talked him out of it over candlelit dinners at Nobu. But the emails? Those were my fabrication. Pieced together from Rita's leaks and a late-night crash course in Photoshop on my ancient laptop. Controversial? Hell yes. But in that moment, with her venom still stinging my cheeks, it felt like justice served with a side of spite. Ethan dropped the spatula into the sand, embers hissing as it landed. Mom? What the hell? His eyes, those hazel mirrors of his father's, bounced between us, pleading for a lifeline. I wanted to pull him close, whisper that this was for him. The boy I'd shielded from joyride cuffs and juvie whispers. But Sarah was already pivoting, that chameleon spine of hers twisting into victim mode. Tears welled, artful as a close-up shot. Babe, she's delusional. Probably that dementia kicking in, old people get paranoid. You know? The group murmured sympathy, her friends clustering like barracudas, scenting blood. Marlene stubbed out her smoke, muttering,
Bitch.
Please. I laughed, a dry, ragged sound that cut through the crackle. Dementia? Try a mother's memory. Sarah. Sharp as the day I walked out of county jail for covering Ethan's ass. The words hung there, heavier than the humidity. Ethan's face crumpled. What jail?
Mom.
You said it was community service. The secret spilled like cheap wine, staining the sand. I hadn't meant to not hear. Not like this, but the dam broke. 6 months.
So.
For that car in '09. I pled accessory. Told the judge it was mine. So you could graduate, play ball, become the man you are. He staggered back. Burger forgotten.
Why didn't you?
God. Mom. Sarah seized the opening, her flip-flop kicking up sand as she lunged forward.
See?
She's unhinged. Fabricating felonies to sabotage us. Ethan, tell her to leave. But he didn't. He just stood there, the boy I'd raised warring with the husband she'd molded. Tyler, ever the opportunist, filmed it all, phone angled for maximum drama. This is gold, he chuckled to no one. One of Sarah's friends, a bottle blonde named Kaylee with a podcast on toxic femininity, piped up. Wait, is this for real? Like, empowering or elder abuse? The debate ignited faster than the fireworks exploding in crimson bursts over the water. Marlene jumped in, voice gravelly from years of Merlots, empowering my ass. This girl's been playing puppet master since day one. Julia's the saint here, but Tyler countered. Vape cloud curling like a question mark, or the meddling MIL. Classic family drama. Who's the real villain? Sarah's circle split, Kaylee nodding at Marlene. Another friend siding with Sarah's sobs.
Ethan?
He looked seasick, the weight of my buried sin crashing over him. I turned toward the pier, the wooden planks cool under my feet as I walked away. The ocean stretched infinite, a black mirror reflecting the chaos I'd unleashed. Behind me, voices rose, accusations, defenses, the sizzle of burgers burning on the abandoned grill. My heart hammered, not from fear, but a dark thrill. Revenge wasn't a sprint, it was this slow churn, grinding grudges into grit. I'd planted the seed. Now watch it choke the weeds. Back at the rental, I claimed the guest room with its view of the dunes, the door locked against the storm brewing below. Sleep evaded me, mind replaying the Leech line like a bad loop. Old Leech. I'd heard worse in the prison yard, from inmates who'd lost everything to bad choices. But this, from the woman who'd vowed to love my son. Dawn crept in, gray as guilt, and I slipped out for a walk. The beach was empty save for joggers and a stray lab chasing gulls. I collected shells, razor clams, their edges sharp reminders, and plotted. By breakfast, the house thrummed with tension. Sarah avoided my eyes, picking at avocado toast while scrolling her phone furiously. Ethan sat beside her, distant, nursing black coffee. "Mom, we need to talk," he said finally, voice raw. I nodded, buttering my English muffin with deliberate calm. After the beach cleanup. Family tradition, right? He flinched, tradition I'd started after his dad died, combing the shore for trash as therapy. Sarah rolled her eyes. Seriously? With everything? But we went. The group trudged out, buckets in hand, the sun climbing high and merciless. Malibu's shore was a graveyard of plastic, six-pack rings strangling seaweed, bottles bobbing like unanswered prayers. As we worked, alliances shifted. Marlene sidled up, buckets swinging. "You did good last night,
Kiddo.
that one's got more masks than a Mardi Gras float." I smiled faintly, prying a flip-flop from the rack line. Just tired of being the punchline. Marlene. Ethan joined us. Silent at first, gloved hands sifting sand. Then, quiet. "Why'd you lie about jail?" I paused, a faded condom wrapper fluttering in the breeze. "Because love's not logical.
Son.
It was you or me, and I'd do it again." He nodded,
Slow.
the pieces clicking.
She.
Sarah knew about the merger risks. Push me anyway. Betrayals echo. But before I could respond, Sarah's shriek cut through. "Everyone, look at this." She held up my locket, snatched from the nightstand, chain dangling like a noose. Inside, the photo, me and Tom, young and grinning at Dodger Stadium. "You stole this." Ethan's voice cracked. Sarah flushed, defensive. I was looking for meds, thought she was off her rocker with that felony talk. And this?
Proof.
Creepy old relic, dragging the past into our future. The group gathered, buckets forgotten. Kaylee gasped theatrically, "Boundary violation, Tyler, or sentimental theft." The divide deepened, Sarah's camp murmuring, "Toxic," Marlene's retorting, "Heartless." I took the locket gently, snapping it shut. "This isn't about the past,
Sarah.
it's about the future you're stealing from him." Her eyes narrowed. Schemer's glint. Or the one you're ruining? Call the cops. Ethan. Harassment. He hesitated, torn, the decision hanging like sea fog. That's when I flipped it.
Fine.
Let's call them. Tell M about the Joyride cover-up. And the emails I really did send, not fakes. The originals from your daddy's server. Rita's got backups. Bluff again. But her face blanched. She'd flipped from viper to victim. Now I was the wild card. Unpredictable as the undertow. The cleanup ended in silence. Trash bags heavy with more than debris. Back at the house, Ethan pulled me aside on the deck. I confronted her. About the merger. She admitted. Manipulating the docs. His voice broke. But she says it's for us. Stability. I gripped the railing. Knuckles white. Stability built on sand.
Sun.
Washes away. Night fell. The fourth's fireworks fading to embers. Sarah hosted a clear-the-air dinner, catered sushi rolls and sake bombs. Her friends toasting resilience. But under the table, her foot nudged Ethan's. A silent plea. I watched, biting. Marlene leaned in. What's your endgame? Julia? I sip my water. Not end. Just balance. Then Tyler's phone buzzed. Viral alert. The bonfire clip. Posted anonymously his doing. The fool. Racking views. Comments flooded. MIL of the year versus. Entitled Boomer Rage. Controversy crested. Polarizing the net like a political tweet storm. Sarah's brand, empowered wifey, teetered. And in the chaos, she cornered me by the pool. You win this round.
Leech.
But Ethan's mine. Her whisper was venom. Touch him again, and I'll bury you. I met her gaze. Unflinching. Barry? Honey. I've been digging graves since before you were born. The threat hung.
Dark as the tide.
But as she stalked off, I felt the shift, the revenge tide turning, pulling her under. Little did I know, the real current was Ethan's, swelling toward a choice that would split us all. The second day dawned sticky, the kind of heat that clings like regret, turning the rental house into a pressure cooker. I woke to the murmur of voices on the deck, Ethan and Sarah. Low and urgent, words slicing through the screen door like shrapnel. She's lying about the emails.
Babe.
It's sabotage. Sarah's tone. All silk over steel. I checked the server. Nothing. Ethan's reply. Muffled, but the jail thing. Mom wouldn't lie about that. A pause. Then her sigh. Performative as an Oscar reel. Of course she would. Desperate to keep you hooked. Hooked. The irony burned hotter than the sun baking the deck boards. I dressed quietly, linen shorts and a tank from Old Navy, practical for the beach, and slipped out the back, avoiding the minefield. The colony path wound past manicured lawns and no trespassing signs, leading to a secluded stretch where the public met the private. I needed air, space to breathe without her perfume choking me. The waves rolled in, relentless, eroding the bluffs like timed chips at resolve. I sat on a driftwood log, locket in hand, tracing Tom's smile. What would you do, old man? He'd laugh. That gravelly rumble. Give 'em hell. Jules. But smart. Smart. That's what this had to be. No more bluffs that could backfire. Ethan's doubt was a crack I could widen, but one wrong pry, and it'd swallow me. My phone buzzed. Marlene. Virals exploding. Leechgate trending. Sarah's followers dipping. I smirked.
Pocketing it.
Public opinion was fickle as LA weather, but it amplified the echo. Back at the house. Brunch was a battlefield disguised as mimosets. Tyler lounged by the pool, live tweeting the drama, family vockey or WWE, beach brawl. Kaylee filmed reaction vids, her pod squad nodding along to takes on intergenerational trauma. Sarah played hostess. All breezy apologies. Last night was intense.
Huh.
Blame the wine. But her eyes shot daggers when she passed me the fruit platter. Ethan sat between us. Buffer zone. Picking at eggs Benedict like they were laced with arsenic. Mom, he ventured. Fork midway. Tell me everything. The joyride. The table hushed. Even Tyler pausing his scroll. I set down my OJ. Buying seconds. This was the pivot, truth as weapon. Dosed carefully.
Fanash. Summer '09.
You were 16, running with Marco's crew. Borrowed that BMW from his uncle's lot, no key. Just hotwired. Cops pulled you over on the 101. Doing 90 with a baggie of weed in the glove box. Gasps from the peanut gallery. Sarah's fork clattered.
Ethan?
Weed. He flushed crimson. It was stupid. One time, I echoed, voice even. But the DA wanted juvie. Expulsion. End of football. End of scouts. I couldn't let that ghost you. I leaned in, locking eyes. Told the cops it was my idea. Test drive gone wrong. Pled out to misdemeanor theft. 6 months in Sybil Brand, laundry duty. Group therapy with lifers who'd shank you for a cigarette. Ethan's jaw slackened. Sybil Brand? That's women's prison. Nods from Marlene, who'd heard the tales. Tough joint.
Kid.
Your ma's a warrior.
Zara recovered fast.
Flipping the script. Warrior or warden? Sounds like control.
Ethan.
Keeping tabs with guilt. Kaylee lit up. Ooh. Codependency alert. But Tyler. Scrolling comments. Chimed. Net's loving Julia. Boss MIL memes everywhere. Sarah snatched his phone. Scrolling furiously. Her face paled. Followers unfollowing.
Bronze pulling collabs.
This is defamation. I'll sue. The threat landed flat. I met it with a shrug. Sue away. Discovery's a bitch. Pulls up all those merger docs. The ones with your notes in the margins. Sign here.
Babe.
For us. Her bluff called. She crumbled, excusing herself to the powder room. Ethan followed. Murmurs trailing. I exhaled. The table's eyes on me, curious, wary. Marlene squeezed my hand under the wicker. Proud of you, Jules. But careful. She's cornered now. Afternoon brought paddleboard rentals. A forced olive branch. The water was glass smooth, buoys bobbing like hesitant truce flags. I paddled out alone, the board wobbling under my novice balance. But the solitude steadied me. Ethan joined eventually, his board slicing parallel. I talked to her. About the non-compete, it's ironclad. 5 years. No puaking clients. His paddle dipped. Rhythmic. She says it's protection. I say it's prison. We drifted. The colony shrinking to toy houses. Like the one I gave you, I said softly. He nodded. Sun glinting off sweat. Why cover it up? All these years. Shame.
Son.
Mine and yours. but mostly love, fierce, stupid kind. He swallowed hard. I love you.
Mom.
But Sarah. She's my wife. The words gutted, but I nodded. Then fight for what's right. Not what's easy. Back on shore, the group reconvened around a beach volleyball net. Sarah's idea. To blow off steam. She served with vicious spin, balls smacking sand like slaps. I sat out, nursing a water, watching her orchestrate plays. Charm rebounding. But cracks showed. A missed spike. Her laugh too shrill. Tyler spiked one my way, teasing, and I returned it.
Solid. Surprising even me.
Not bad. Leech, he called. Laughter.
But edged.
Sarah's serve came next. Aimed at my head. I ducked. Ball thudding behind. Oops, she cooed. Old reflexes. Ethan called foul. Tension spiking. Enough. Sarah. She whirled. Paddleboard, tan lines stark against flesh skin. Enough? She's turning you against me. The net became confessional. She unloaded pressures from her dad. The SEC shadow. How Ethan's potential was her lifeline. I did it for us. Stability in this shit economy. Kaylee. Valid point. Capitalism's brutal. Marlene. Brutal's framing your hubby for fraud. The ball dropped. Literally forgotten in the sand. Sides formed anew. Sarah and Tyler versus me and Marlene. Ethan adrift. He finally spoke. Voice cutting the salt air. I signed those docs blind. But Mom's right, it's over. Sarah staggered.
What?
I'm calling my old prof tomorrow. Breaking the non-compete. Consequences be damned. Her world tilted, and she lashed. You'll ruin us. For her, he met her eyes. Steady for the first time. For me. Dusk fell as we trudged back. The net sagging like defeat. Dinner was takeout tacos from a truck, neutral ground. But Sarah skipped it. Barricaded in the master. Ethan knocked softly. Babe. Talk to me. Muffled sobs. I cleared plates quietly.
Marlene's foot nudging mine. Incoming.
Tyler burst in. Phone aloft. Dude. Sarah's live. Blasting Julia as abusive MIL. Views through the roof. We clustered around the screen, Sarah. Tear-streaked in selfie mode. Monologuing. Toxic in-laws are real. This woman's blackmailing my marriage with lies. Stand with Sarah. Comments exploded. Support squads versus. Skeptics quoting my felony reveal. Controversy crested. Media sniffing, TMZ tweet. Beach brawl, law wife versus. Lock up mom. Ethan paled. This is spiraling. Night deepened. The house a tinderbox. I retreated to the deck. Stars pricking the velvet sky. Footsteps, Sarah. Alone. Glass in hand. Truce. Her voice. Olive branch or olive pit. I turned. Wary. Depends. What's the ask? She leaned on the rail. Silhouette sharp.
Leave.
Tonight. I'll wire you 10 grand. Call it severance. The old Leech bait. I chuckled low. Tempting.
But no.
This isn't about money. Her mask slipped. Raw underneath. Then what? Destroying me? Exposing you. There's a difference. She sipped. Eyes gleaming. You think you're the hero? Covering crimes. Faking evidence, that's villain shit. Julia. Fair hit. I absorbed it. Maybe. But betrayal's the real crime. You used him. She flipped again. Schemers pivot. He used me too. Knew about Dad's troubles. Married in any way for the connections. Half-truth. But it stung. We're all flawed.
Sarah.
Question is, who redeems? She laughed bitterly.
Not you.
Not with that skeleton closet. The door creaked. Ethan. Eavesdropping. Enough. Both of you. He pulled her inside, leaving me with the waves whisper. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of prison bars morphing into volleyball nets. Sarah's face my own. Morning broke with sirens distant, then near. Tyler's doing? No. Sarah's dad. Barreling up in a Bentley. Face thunderous. What the hell's this viral crap? SEC circling because of your mouth. The house erupted. Accusations flying. Ethan mediating. Me silent observer. Daddy dearest cornered me in the kitchen. You the instigator? Back off my girl. I met his gaze. Unflinching. Or what? More shells? The climax brewed. Tension coiling like a spring. And as the family fractured, I realized revenge wasn't mine alone. It was ours, a collective gasp waiting to break. Sirens wailed into silence, but the echo lingered like a bad hangover as Sarah's father, Harlan, silver fox with a Rolex tan, stormed the living room. He was the archetype, boardroom bully transplanted to beachwear, khakis crease-sharp as his temper. Sarah, explain this circus. She wilted into his arms. Damsel perfected. Daddy. It's her, Julia. Spreading lies about the firm, the merger. His eyes swung to me, perched on the arm of the couch like a gargoyle on judgment. You.
Out.
Or I'll have my lawyers eat your pension for breakfast. Ethan stepped forward, spine-eyed, forged in fire. Harlan. Back off. Mom's not the problem, you are. Those docs. I signed them. But Sarah knew the risks. Harlan's laugh boomed. Dismissive.
Boy.
You think you're hot shit. Without my pull, you're clerking at some strip mall firm. The room crackled, Marlene smirking from her perch with a fresh cig. Tyler live streaming covertly. Kaylee whispering content gold to her squad. I rose slow, channeling the quiet fury of those prison nights, folding inmate linens while plotting escapes. Mr. Langford, your daughter's a chip off the block. Teaming, flipping truths like poker cards. But Ethan's no mark. Harlan's face reddened, vein pulsing. Defamation. Lady. I'll bury you. Bury, I echoed, stepping close. I've got dirt that'd fertilize your empire. That '09 joyride? Try the 18 tax dodge. Ethan's name on your offshore accounts. Courtesy of Sarah's nudge. Bluff layered on bluff. But it landed. Harlan faltered, glancing at Sarah. What? She stammered. It was nothing. Daddy, just placeholders. The lie crumbled audibly. Ethan recoiled. Placeholders? You put my SSN on Cayman wires. Her eyes darted, viper to vixen. For us.
Babe.
Leverage against the probe. The dam burst. Harlan roared. You idiots. SEC's already sniffing. This beach bullshit tips them over. He paced, phone to ear, barking at unseen attorneys. The group splintered, Kaylee fleeing to the pool for space, Tyler cackling at comments, Daddy's mad ratings. Marlene pouring bourbon neat. Ethan grabbed Sarah's arm. All of it, truth.
Now.
She yanked free. Tears real this time.
Fine.
Yes. I covered for you. The weed bust. I knew.
Dug it up too. To keep you close.
Guilt's a hell of a glue. Ethan staggered. The betrayal's sinking claws. You blackmailed me? With Mom's sacrifice. I watched. Heart twisting, not triumph, but the hollow ache of watching your kid bleed. Ethan, I said soft. She's the leech now. Sarah whirled on me. Shut up. You started this. You're meddling.
Jag viral sob story.
Marlene interjected. Girl, you called it first. Own it. Harlan hung up. Face ashen. Feds are raiding the office Monday. Thanks to an anonymous tip. Ring a bell. Julia? I shrugged. Innocent as the Virgin Mary. Rita's work. Bless her. Karma's a beachcomber. Harlan. Unearths what you bury. He lunged, not at me, but papers from his briefcase, scattering SEC filings like confetti.
See?
Clean, but Ethan snatched one. Eyes scanning. This signature. Mine? On a shell corp? Sarah froze.
I
Forged it. For protection. The Gasp Collective. Oxygen sucked from the room. Tyler's stream peaked. Holy plot twist. Harlan bellowed. You what? Sarah crumbled. Schemers stripped. Daddy needed it. Ethan's rep as cover. He was clueless. Ethan backed away. Ghost white. Clueless. Like always. He turned to me, eyes pleading.
Mom. I
need time. The afternoon dissolved into exodus, Harlan bundling Sarah into the Bentley, tires spinning sand as they fled south. We'll fix this, he snarled over his shoulder. Tyler hitched with Kaylee, vlogging the getaway. From brawl to bailout, stay tuned. Marlene clapped my back. You hurricane. Jules. But Ethan lingered, packing slow. Come with me, he asked. Duffel half-sipped. I shook my head. Your call, son. But doors open. He nodded, hugging fierce, the kind that mends fractures. Love you. Sorry for everything. Then gone. Taillights fading into the haze. The house emptied, echoes mocking. I wandered the beach alone. Sun dipping low, painting the surf bloody. Revenge tasted bittersweet, Sarah dethroned. But at what cost? Ethan's freedom. Yes, but scarred. My secret aired, no longer mine alone. Night cloaked the colony in velvet. Bonfire rebuilt solo, driftwood crackling. Stars indifferent witnesses. Marlene joined. Flask shared. Think he'll divorce her? I poked embers. Maybe. Or maybe not. Love's blind. Stubborn. She exhaled smoke rings. You did right. Controversial as hell. But right. We sat till flames died. Then packed the rental. Memories like sand in crevices. Drive home was PCH purgatory. Radio droning traffic and celeb gossip. Leechgate bombshell. Langford empire crumbles. My phone lit. Text from Rita. Feds got M. Good work. Ethan. Staying at a hotel. Thinking. I replied. Proud. Always. Back in the valley. Bungalow welcomed with quiet. Roses blooming defiant in the yard. I crashed hard. Dreams tangled. Prison gates slamming. Sarah's face morphing to mine. Ethan's hand slipping from grasp. Dawn brought coffee black as resolve. And a knock, Marlene. Donuts in tow. News. Sarah's posting apologies. Growth journey. I snorted. Phony as her tan. But the twist coiled unseen. "Good morning," Ethan called. Voice thick. "Mom, come to Cedars."
Now.
Heart seized. Hospital? What happened? Just.
Come.
Traffic clawed. 405, a snarl of sedans and semis. Cedars loomed. Sterile sentinel. Ethan in the lobby. Eyes red but dry. Not me. Her. He led to a room, Sarah. Pale in a gown. Monitors beeping soft. "Miscarriage," he whispered. "Last night. After the fight."
Guilt tsunami.
My revenges ripple. Stress. Rage.
Loss.
She looked up.
Hollow.
"Julia. No venom. Just name."
Heavy.
Ethan bridged. "She wants to talk."
To you.
I approached. Chair scraping.
Sarah.
Don't. Her hand, foretethered, waved weak. I was wrong. The Leech thing. Projection. Daddy's always called me that, draining him. Confession cracked her facade. The forgery? Panic. Thought it'd bind Ethan closer. I sat. Locket warm against skin. Binding breaks.
Sarah.
Loosens to strangle. She nodded. Tears tracking. I know. And the cover-up. I dug it too. To scare you off. But it boomeranged. Flip final. Antagonist to ally? Or ploy? Ethan watched. Hopeful. We're done with the games. Counseling. Maybe separate. But. Family. The room spun, polarity shifting. Was this redemption? Or manipulation's last gasp? Nurses bustled. Oblivious. Think on it, I said. Rising. But no more secrets. Outside. Ethan hugged again. Thank you. For everything. Drive home blurred. Emotions churning. Revenge's climax. Not gasp on beach. But this quiet ward. Life fragile as eggshell. Evening found me on my porch. Sunset bleeding orange. Phone buzzed. Viral update. Sarah's post. Raw. I was the Leech. Owning my mess. Growth. Comments ward. Fake tears versus. Real talk props. Debatable. Divisive. Marlene texted. Twist ending? I sipped tea. Waves metaphorical crashing. Happy? Tragic?
Both.
Tangled as kelp. But for once, the anchor held, not dragging, but steady. Weeks blurred into that post-storm haze, where the air smells of ozone and possibility, but the ground's still slick with mud. Back in the valley, life resumed its grind, nursing shifts at the clinic. Dodging Harlan's lawyer's voicemails, they fizzled. Bigger fish for the feds. Ethan crashed at my place 3 nights a week. Couch his confessional. We'd talk till the coyotes yipped about the joyride's ghost. Sarah's machinations. The baby that never drew breath. It wasn't your fault, Mom, he'd say. But guilt's a stubborn tenant, renting space in my chest. Sarah vanished from the grid at first. Radio silence. Her insta-frozen on that apology reel. Then. Trickle, a text to Ethan. Counseling solo. Miss you. He showed me. Thumb hovering over reply. What do you think? I stirred my Folgers. Pragmatic. Think with your head. Not history. He nodded. But love's a labyrinth. Twists unseen. Harlan's empire? Crumbling sandcastle. Raids. Indictments splashed across the Times like tabloid confetti. Insider queen dethroned. Headlines crowed. Controversial? Reader split. Karma versus which Hanon biz. Marlene became my war counsel. Friday beers at the local dive. Neon signs flickering like faulty morals. Heard from Tyler? Kids milking the drama. Podcast deal. I laughed. Foam bitter. Vulture circle. She clinked bottles. You? Hero or heel? I pondered. Label peeling. Bit of both. That's the rub, no clean wins. The beach haunted.
Though.
Malibu's siren call pulled one weekend. Ethan insisted. Closure trip. Just us.
No rentals.
Packing a cooler for Zuma's public stretch. Waves thundered indifferent. Gulls scavenging like paparazzi. We walked the rack line, collecting more than shells, fragments of what was. Remember Dad's stories? Fishing off Santa Monica Pier. Reeling in regrets. Ethan grinned.
Rare. Yeah.
You'd patch the nets. I nodded. Brian's stinging eyes. Mending's my curse. He stopped. Surf lapping ankles. Sarah called. Wants to meet. Neutral ground. My gut nodded. Viper reborn? Why? Forgiveness.
For the baby.
For us. I scanned the horizon. Tankers dotting like distant doubts. Your call. But eyes open. He hugged sideways. Thanks.
Mom.
For not leeching, just loving. Back home. The knock came unannounced. Sarah on my stoop. Sundress loose.
No makaparmer.
Julia.
Can we?
Ethan inside. Oblivious. I'd sent him for groceries. Porch swing creaked as we sat. Space between like barbed wire. Heard about Harlan. I started neutral. She nodded.
Fingers twisting him.
Disbarment pending. My fault, pushing the edges.
Pause.
Oceans roar in memory. And you?
The beach.
I deserved it.
Deserved.
Word hung. Debatable. Maybe. But loss doesn't balance scales. Her eyes met mine, stripped. Human. The miscarriage.
Stress.
Your words. The fight. But also mine, years of control. Confessions tied. I covered the weed thing not to bind him, but
Fear.
of losing the fairy tale. Flip final. Antagonist unmasked. Not schemer but scared girl playing tycoon. I leaned back. Swaying. Fairy tale's end.
Sarah.
Real life's the grind. She smiled faint. First genuine. Teach me how to let go. Request disarmed. Controversial. Ally from enemy? Start with truth. No more placeholders. We talked then, hours bleeding into dusk, secrets swapped like shells. Her daddy's pressures. My prison solitude. The locket's weight. Ethan returned. Bags rustling. Freezing at the sight.
Ah.
Pizza truce. Dinner unfolded awkward. Then easing, slices folded New York style.
Look tentative.
No resolutions, but rifts mending. Thread by thread. Later. Alone. Ethan cornered me in the kitchen. You talked? Really? I rinsed plates. Suds swirling.
Yeah.
Humans under the masks. He exhaled.
I'm
Staying with her. Trial basis. Counseling. Heart twinged, loss. But his. Proud.
son. Just.
Guard your future. He kissed my cheek. Always will. Love you. Anchor. Months spun. Ethan thrived at a boutique firm. Non-compete nuked in settlement. Sarah? Reinvented, blog on fraud to freedom. Authentic. Views steady, but soulful. Harlan plea bargain down. Fading to Palm Springs Golf.
Me?
Clinic promoted to supervisor. Roses rampant. But the twist lingered. Unspoken. It broke on Thanksgiving dinner at my place. Turkey brined. Marlene carousing. Laughter flowed. Yams sweet. Then Sarah pulled me aside. Bathroom mirror reflecting us, aged by battles, but softer. Julia. Pregnant again. Joy sparked. Cautious. Ethan knows.
Nod.
4 months. Clean slate. I hugged her. Fierce, mother-in-law to almost grandma. Congratulations. But the gasp? In her whisper, I know about the faked emails. The bluffs. My blood chilled.
How?
Rita, old friend. Said you sparked the raid. Confessions mirror. Why tell now? She smiled sly. Just a glint. Because we're even. Your revenge saved us, exposed the rot. But if you ever. Threat veiled. Bond twisted. I pulled back. Searching. Schemer? Or survivor? Even, I agreed. But doubt seated. Ethan called from hall. Gravy's boiling. We rejoined. Facades flawless. Table toast rang to family. Fractured but fierce. That night. Alone. Locket open. Tom's grin eternal. Revenge's end? Not by. Not happy, ambiguous. Debatable. Sarah's flip. Redemption or relapse. Readers, if this were reals, would argue. Villain vanquished. Or villain veiled. I locked the door. Waves in memory crashing. No heroes here. Just survivors on the shore. Gasping at the tide's turn. And in the dark, I whispered to ghosts. We made it. Messy as hell. But as sleep claimed, phone glowed. Anonymous text. Watch your back.
Leech.
S-bluff? Or bite? The debate eternal. Tension taut as wire. Fade to black. Heart still beating, controversial. Unyielding. American as apple pie mode.